For the Vincent Delaney Memorial, which starts tomorrow and the day after, wrapped to be catching up with Roger Huston. Firstly, thank you very much for joining me.
It's a pleasure. Anytime I can talk about horse racing, it's been my life.
You're actually the voice of the VDM now, which is a great honour, and you've been doing that. I think Derek said 11th year or 12th year you've done it?
12th year. I actually came over to Wales in 2009. They had a race on the ground, on the grass at Tregerin, and they were going for the world's record. And the folks there called me and wanted to know if I'd come over and announce because they wanted a world's record. And it was amazing the number of people I met there for the very first time that are Vincent Delaney Memorial on a regular basis. So I don't know if it was from that trip, but I think everything goes back to the Little Brown Jug. People hear you all over the world, and I forget, it wasn't Derek that called the first time. It was Steve Wolf, a writer in the States, and he was doing some publicity over here. And Derek asked me, "Do you think we could get Roger Huston?" It took me maybe 15, 20 seconds to say yes.
Yeah.
Because I love traveling, and it's been my life.
I will get onto that in a sec, and a little bit of your history if you like, but this trip, it's awesome. We want to make sure we can get more people on it to enjoy like-minded people and get to meet people you may never have met before.
Well, it's unbelievable, and it's one thing that I've never understood about my life. What's the big deal? I mean, everything like that. But the other day when we went to Newtown Stud, and young Jake was there with the horse, he said, "Would you come back and take a picture with me with my pony?"
I can tell you, Jake will like this interview because everything I've put up since that day meeting him, and he's a ripping young kid, and we've got a Dexter. If you're watching this, Dexter Dunn, the young man needs a hat with your signature on it because I said I'd get him one, so Dex will do it.
Actually, in the United States, I was probably one of the first to know Dexter Dunn because he came here.
Yep.
And of course, he had the regular silks that were black that he wore in New Zealand and Australia and such. And those 2 days, I think he won something like 11 or 12 races in 2 days. And Aaron Merriman was here the same weekend, and Aaron had about 3 wins.
Yep.
And I thought, my gosh, this kid can drive a horse. And 2 or 3 years later, he proved it right there in the United States, and is still the #1 driver in the States.
Yep. Yeah, he's doing a mighty job. And of course, Anthony Butt, another from down south, and they're actually related as well. So I don't know exactly how they are related, but they are fairly closely. They're cousins, I think, or maybe even a bit closer.
Anthony's been here in the last 12 years 2 or 3 times, and always fun to talk to him and spend some time too.
He was happy that I was coming here. He was upset that he wasn't coming because it's back at Tier Prince, because when I said that, he said, "Oh, you'll just love it." So
he was here, I think, 3 years ago.
Yep.
At Tier Prince. So
yeah.
It's always a pleasure to meet people from other parts. I went to Australia one time back in 1995.
Well, we've got to get you back again, I think. So
I must admit, I think I'm getting too old for all this traveling, though.
Yeah. A few things. Do you get excited about calling here, like at the Vincent Delaney Memorial?
I don't think, and it's nothing against anything, I don't think that one race, I don't care if it's a county fair in Rock Springs, Ohio, or whether it's the Little Brown Jug in Delaware or the Vincent Delaney Memorial over here in Wales. I get excited for harness racing. A lot of people early in the career, they said, "Oh, Houston's faking it. He can't get that excited." But I've always felt one thing. Every race, regardless of whether they're going for $500,000 or $500 or $750 or what, has owners, trainers, drivers, caretakers, fans that are betting on that particular horse. And for a lot of those people, that might be as close as they ever come to being in the Little Brown Jug.
Yep.
So why wouldn't you put every effort into that race as much as you do on another one?
When did it start? Because you're coming up to a milestone in the Little Brown Jug, but when did you start race calling?
1960, my uncle, who had been the announcer at Lebanon Raceway in Ohio from 1953, was a senior in high school, and he asked me if I wanted to go to the matinee program in Wilmington, Ohio. And I said, sure. So he picked me up, we went down there. I go sitting over in the grandstand, and after about the first race was over, he gets on the PA and he says, pages me to come to the infield judges stand. So I go, and he says, I got to go to the bathroom, do this post parade. Did the post parade. He didn't come back. And that was my introduction calling races. The first race was horrible.
So before you go on to that, so you'd never been before. Mm-mm. Had you ever harbored ambitions to call, or?
No, not, you know, I guess growing up, I probably thought I wanted to do it like Uncle Don did and such as that, but I actually started out working PA for high school football and basketball games in the high school where I attended. So I had a career in that before I got to harness racing, and then I started working at a radio station also my senior year of high school, and then came the harness racing. Went to college to be a school teacher. The day I graduated and got my diploma, got a call from the Red Mile in Lexington, said, we need an announcer for 1 week, could you do it? And that was the beginning in 1965 that really mushroomed.
And we will get onto that because I was doing maths. So you said there 1960 you started calling. You said your first race. So we'll go back to that first race. You said your first call was terrible.
Terrible. Second was better. Third was better. I got over the nervousness. And once you got over the nervousness, and they were small fields, 4, 5 horses, but I was nervous. My knees were probably hitting each other and stuff like that, but that was the introduction. And from that very first day, I think that year I had 5 county fairs, announced 99 races, and made maybe $400 or something like $25 a day or something like that. And I said, this is it.
I was going to say, you would have been, the money wouldn't have been the major point for it.
No, the money wasn't. I mean, I didn't care what they paid me in those days. But I was going to be a school teacher and thinking that the 3 months in the summertime I'd announce county fairs. And like I say, when I got the job at Lexington for just 1 week, I never taught school and just got bigger and bigger from then on.
Did you stay at Lexington after they called you for that week?
The first year at Lexington was, I think, 1965, and I announced there both the spring and the fall meet until 1975. So I was there about 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
And you went from there. So it must have been about that same time you got your first jug, because you're coming up to the milestone. So I keep alluding. I think, one, congratulations. Yeah. In time when it does come to get there, and I hopefully don't moz you, but 60 years of calling the jug. But how did you go when you got asked to do the first one of those?
You know, your life, you can't plan it, and everything came into fruition in 1967, and it started with Charlie Hinkle, who was the same hometown I was, and he was the announcer for the Jug and the Hamiltonian, and he got those races on national radio, CBS, NBC, and they were at the Adios, believe it or not, at the Meadows. And he told Hank Thompson, he says, I've accepted the job doing play-by-play basketball for the new Los Angeles basketball team in the ABA, the very first year of that, and I'm not going to be able to announce the Jug. And Hank, this is the second week of August, 1 month until the Jug.
So about now.
And so Corwin Nixon was there, and he said, Corwin was the president of the United States Trotting Association. He says, why don't you get a hold of that Houston kid in Xenia? What's his name? I don't know what his first name is. But so Hank drives all the way back to Delaware the night of the Adios, calls the operator and says, how many Houstons you have living in Xenia, and they said 7. He said, well, let's stop at the top of the alphabet. Who's the first? And it said Cecil, who happened to be my dad.
Oh, serious?
Yeah. So Hank called me, and it was about 10:30 at night. And of course, I knew who Hank Thompson was. He didn't know me, but I'd been going to the Jug as a fan since 1958. And so he says, you probably don't know me, but my name's Hank Thompson. I literally fell out of bed because I knew who Hank Thompson was. And he says, I need an announcer for the first 3 days. He said, Stan Bergstein's going to do the Jug. I'm sure he'll let you announce some Jug Day, but can you do Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday? And I said, I sure can. And he says, well, I'll see you in Delaware. And my wife said, how much are they paying you? And I said, I don't care. And that was it. And then a week after that, I got a call from Pompano Park in Pompano Beach, Florida, and they says, can you do the Pompano Winter Meet, December through April? Man, everything fell into place.
Yep.
December to April at Florida, end of April to June or July, the spring meet at Lexington, do some county fairs, top it off with a little brown jug, and then go back to Florida. And it was that way until 1976, and I had to give up most of my fares, and the Red Mile, I gave it up to move full-time to the Meadows, where I was there for 44 years.
44 years. How did you come, so you've alluded to the fact that you got the first 3 days of the Jug. Did you get to call that Jug?
No, not that year, 67. It was the only Jug that Stan Bergstein called. He made the videotapes for the races of the Jug. After the race was over, he went to a recording studio and dubbed the voiceover on the films and stuff. And Hank, on Wednesday before the Jug that year that Stan was going to call, he says, he apologized to me. He said, I'm sorry you can't call the Jug tomorrow, but I've already promised Bergstein. So I didn't know whether to believe him or not, but when Hank Thompson told you something, I found out you can definitely count on it. And I didn't tell anybody I was going to do the Jug until I got there the next year and looked in the program, and there was only one name as an announcer, and it was Roger Huston.
Oh, so you weren't told, you thought, like you suspected, but you weren't officially told?
Well, he said that on Wednesday before the Jug on that Thursday, that I wish you could do the Jug tomorrow, but I've already promised it to Bergstein. But he says, you will do it in 1968. And I didn't know whether to really count on it or not, but that's the way it worked out.
Well, you said he's a man of his word. He's given you his word 12 months out.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's a huge honour, isn't it?
Yeah. It's amazing, really. Yeah.
Do you remember who won that Jug?
Billy Houghton. No, I can't.
No.
I mean, it's funny about that. I'm probably the worst historian in the world for coming up with them. But when you've called 184,000 races, and believe me when I say it, those 184,000 races, each one of them is so important. But I just can't remember it. I can remember certain Jugs and stuff, but that was a long time ago.
I can find it tricky remembering. Someone will say, who won race 2? And you're like, I don't know. You would have interviewed the connections. You've mentioned the horse's name. Yeah. It is an unusual thing. And then there's other people that can just rattle them off, can't they, without missing a beat.
I mean, I've done it all my life, but I've never been able to remember that. I remember particular races. I can probably, you tell me a horse's name, and I'll tell you a story about the Jug on that particular horse. But to say, hey, so-and-so won it in 1975 or something, I have a little trouble.
That's okay. That's as I said, I think it's a way that everyone goes there. Did you, like I said, you're coming up for your 60th year this year. Did you pinch yourself, like you pinch yourself sort of sitting back now thinking, wow, I've had the same job, one of the best jobs in harness racing for that period of time?
I mean this when I say it. I don't know what people, why they don't think me being an announcer or something like that. I don't understand that situation. I really don't. One time,
Can I tell you, as an Australian,
yeah,
we hear your voice,
Yeah.
and it'll be associated with a stallion that's won. And I think now they don't have to have won the Little Brown Jug, but like I'm 53. When I was younger, you know, Alabar, those farms would have the TVs,
Yeah.
and they would be playing, and these horses would win. When your name came, when your voice came through,
Yeah.
you knew they were watching the jug, so you'd turn around and watch a screen.
There's one story I have to tell on that, because what you're saying is so true. Strikeout. The owner, great individual in harness racing, but he came back to Delaware when he had about a month and a half to live. And they had the jug breakfast on Wednesday morning before the jug. And I swear, he didn't know me when I introduced himself to the table. And after he passed away and everything, they interviewed his wife. And she told about he wanted to take him to Delaware because he was the guy that said, I didn't come here to be elected governor. I came to win the Little Brown Jug and such. She said he really didn't know where he was at first till he got to the track.
Yeah.
Heard Roger's voice.
That was humbling. That's very humbling for you, wasn't it? I could tell. Yeah. And it's funny you say there you're not a big historian, but that history does.
John Hayes was a tremendous guy and a good friend all those years, and strikeout and everything. And it was just, I couldn't believe when I saw that in print in Trot magazine. And it kind of, that's the one time I probably felt like, gee, maybe I am special or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I felt special to give him a glint in his eyes right before he died.
Yep.
That's what I felt special about.
Yeah, and that's one of those. It's. I'll ask you in a minute about your horses, but it's not necessarily calling a certain horse to win a race. What's made it special is you've made someone's day.
Yeah. You don't know how many people at Delaware come up to me, because I can't announce all the races. They had 90 races in 5 days, so I usually announce 75 of them or 80, whatever works out. And people come up, are you calling the third race or something like that? I've always wanted to race at Delaware, and here you call the race. And I like to fulfill their dreams, and a lot of them win. You know.
Did you model yourself on someone? I mean, it's a big thing now, with especially in Australia. They model themselves on other callers. Did you?
I've always told other people when they come to me and want to be an announcer, because I can trace back to about 34 or 35 announcers that in the business all those years that in some way, believe me, I didn't make them into an announcer, but in some way I did help them to some degree. And I've always told them, don't mimic anybody.
Yeah.
Now, when I was growing up, I went to the racetrack every night with my uncle. I hardly ever stayed home and studied the books or something like that. I'd be at Lebanon Raceway the day before the final exams in my senior year to watch the races. And in the same town that we lived, which is Xenia, Ohio, that is also where Charlie Hinkle lived. So I knew Charlie from his career. And as much as I loved my uncle, if I patterned after anybody, it was probably Charlie Hinkle.
Yep.
Because I thought he was probably the greatest announcer harness racing ever had. And fact is, when he passed, his daughter sent me his ashes and wanted me to spread his ashes everywhere. I saved a little of those ashes and I got them in my office at home.
That's random.
Well, I mean, Charlie, he was just an inspiration to me. I also have his binoculars that he used, which is, I don't think I can lift them anymore. They were real heavy ones those days, but I got his binoculars as well. So those are all things that are kind of personal.
Over some of those jug calls, like you've called a lot of champion horses because it's a champion horse race, and it's a defining horse race, if you like, in harness racing. Any stick out for you?
Oh yeah. Big Bad John, for one thing.
I actually remember that.
I announced 11 of his races as a 2- and 3-year-old, and he never lost a single one of those races. So that was very special. I remember him. And plus, you had the song, Big Bad John and stuff.
Yeah, and you really, Big Bad John. Like, I'm not going to try it, but I actually. But did you enjoy it when you knew you were going to be calling him?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I knew the Tell family for all that period of time and spent a lot of time with them and such. But the one jug that really stands out to me is Wiglet Jiglet.
So before you go on, on our bus, and I forgot the gentleman's name, but they said you've got to do an interview with you and you've got to bring up Wiglet Jiglet. Like, so many other people are the same. They love it.
Yeah. Wiglet Jiglet, I think what made him, the name of the horse, for one thing, everybody kind of liked that. But the whole story of Wiglet Jiglet built up to the jug. Big Mike, he was 6 feet tall and 310 pounds. He was the caretaker.
Yep.
And everybody knew Big Mike and stuff. George and Montreal Tig and stuff. Big stories. Everywhere there, he became the fan favorite. And I can remember that race more than any other race I probably ever called, and how it did it, because had a little trouble in the first turn, and Montreal took him to the outside and sit on the outside, but they went neck and neck for half a mile, and he's going down the backside, and now you remember this battle has turned into a war, and you could hear the crowd just echoed the war, really. And then at the top of the lane, Lost for Words starts to draw away, and Wiglet Jiglet fades back about a length and a quarter off the nose, and George Tig even said he turned his back on the race and started to walk away because he knew he was beaten. And then all of a sudden he heard me say, and Wiglet Jiglet's coming back on the outside. It's Wiglet Jiglet, or something like that. And he won the race. So everything reached a crescendo for that. Brian Brown, who was the trainer of Lost for Words, if you asked him today, and this is 7 or 8 years later, what's the biggest loss you ever had? And it was Lost for Words, losing the jug to Wiglet Jiglet. And even though I call that the greatest jug, and not only the greatest jug, I felt, and Sam McGee, who I got started announcing as well when he was a youngster, he said it as soon as the race was over. He says, that race was the greatest race in all of harness racing. So he agreed with me and what I said as well. And a lot of people go to Life Sign.
Yep.
But I say, how can Life Sign's win of the jug be that great when John Campbell stands in the winner's circle and says it's the worst drive he ever made in harness racing? I don't see, so I don't know. Yeah.
Outside of Delaware, not necessarily Delaware, but jug time and that, some of the better races, are there races that stick in, like for your career? Are there races that...
The other one that probably gets viewed more than anything else is the invitation or the open pace they had at Delaware with Falcon Sealster.
Yep.
And it wasn't planned, and I don't know why I said it, but I said, if you've never been on your feet, you better stand up now. and that was the call at the 3/4 pole to the 7/8, and that's kind of, a lot of people say that's my number one call and such, but I remember that one.
Did you ever plan anything? Like I've listened to calls. Black Caviar was never beaten, so that they whenever they were calling her, they did have to. They say they try not to, but with her they had to, because she was never beat. They knew they had to be able to get something different in, if you like, when she was going to win. Did you ever have anything planned, like a Big Bad John or any of those?
No, nothing. Well, the only thing on Big Bad John, I had it planned that if he won the jug, I told the sound guy before the race, I says, as soon as he go into the wire, start playing the song Big Bad John. But that was the only thing that I ever planned. I never go into a race saying I want to use this line or something. And like I said, in the Falcon Sister, I don't know why I said it, but I said it.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said this battle's turned out to be a war.
Yeah.
It just, the emotions that I'm seeing as the race is going, it just comes to the front of your brain, I guess, you know.
This might be a silly thing.
Nothing silly.
No, that's right. There's no such thing. But when you call a race, do you call a race through your enthusiasm or what people want to hear? Does it make is it what? Yeah,
it's me.
Yeah,
it's not fake. It's way I feel in that particular race.
So you don't call for a crowd. You call, and that's what's built the jugs and those sorts of races.
I've never tried to do that. It's just a way, and it's in my makeup to get excited with those races, and it carries out. I don't plan anything ahead of. If you plan ahead of time, it doesn't work.
Yeah, and
now I've called one race in Australia.
Oh, have you?
Did you know that?
No.
You can YouTube it.
Yep.
It was at Adelaide the same year as the Inter-Dominion was at Adelaide, 1995.
Prior to Petite won the trot, and it was one of the best trot races ever.
It was a standing start, wasn't it, or something? And I don't know if it was the best. I didn't.
No, it was. Yep.
But the race I called, I don't know what it was, but in '95 there was hub rails, and I had one phrase that I used quite often. If somebody, especially if it was a favorite or something, was locked in, I would say they were nailed to the rail. And this particular horse was nailed to the rail on the final lap, buried. 50 horses in front of him, outside him, packed, nowhere to go. And I said, "It's the Messiah nailed to the rail."
It didn't win either.
And people say, "Did he say what I thought he said?"
It just come out.
It just come out.
Yeah. Do you enjoy going, like you enjoy travelling? I know you do that. I think anyone knows that part.
I love it. 8 countries, 163 racetracks all over the world. I think I'll say Wales, Great Britain, Ireland, Sweden, Finland, Norway, Australia, and I think I've called every B track in Canada. And even out in Alberta, I went out to Alberta and called races out there. Didn't get to see the Calgary Stampede, but they gave me a white cowboy hat that I wear quite a bit. I'm a member of the White Hat Club. I had a race secretary that took me to all the tracks up in St. John's, Fredericton, and all the little tracks in Canada called out. A few years ago, a guy by the name of Randy would set up trips for me to go to 3 different tracks, 3 different nights, and usually Leamington and Hanover, and just I loved it. But those days, I think, are kind of behind. This is the only trip that I really take any.
Anyway, I'm wondering, we just went past the 20-minute time. That's okay.
Really?
Yeah, that's okay. Don't worry about that. We can talk as long as we like on this channel.
I could go on for an hour.
Well, there's some chance we might. We will try not to. Who's the best horse
that I've ever seen?
Not raced, not necessarily called. Sorry, but who is the best horse that you've physically seen?
I mean, I was so impressed with Neville Pride and the time trial at Indianapolis. I named my daughter Neville.
Yeah.
And she was the only Neville in all of the world to have that as a first name. So I loved Neville Pride.
Did she forgive you for naming her after a horse?
Well, my first daughter, I named after a horse. And Hoofbeats did a story on me and said Roger even named his daughter after a horse. It was Cammie Sue, which was a trotter that raced the Red Mile from Illinois. And I loved that name, so I named my daughter Cammie Sue. And after that article, and where we were living in Coconut Creek, Florida, a lot of horsemen lived. And people made fun of her being named after a horse. But Neville has never said that she was upset that she was named after a horse. One interesting story on that was I wanted to name her Neville, and my wife said, well, we're not going to do Neville until I see her. I said, does she have to look like a horse? But we named her Neville after she was born. That was an interesting story, too. It wasn't planned, but September 16th of 1983, I think, fell on a Friday. And so we decided to go Caesarean so I could be there because I had to be in Delaware on Saturday. Well, I can tell you more stories.
If Neville's watching this, she's not going to like you at all.
Oh, no, she knows. I mean, it's horrible to admit that this is horrible to admit.
No, it's not. It's part of you.
Harness racing's been number one to me. Family number two.
Yeah.
That is horrible to even say it. Thank goodness my daughter understands.
Yeah. But harness racing is a very good family as well.
Oh, yeah.
There's two sides to that, isn't there?
Oh,
so, yeah.
And
so that filly would be the best filly you've seen? Or up there is one of the best?
Handle with Care.
Yep, I don't know.
Billy Houghton's. I just thought she was the greatest filly. And there's been others, but for some reason I always went back to Handle with Care. Over here it's Carmel Camden.
Yep.
In 2014, they still had the colts racing against the fillies, and Carmel Camden was in the field today with her.
Yeah, I've got a photo.
Yeah. And I kind of fell in love with that horse because she was a lovey-dovey horse, as I remember her, because we'd come back every year. I swear she knew me, but maybe it's just in your head.
Yep.
Maybe they just do it, but I've been kind of partial to her. She won the fillies and then qualified to go against the colts, and she finished fourth against the colts with Wally Hennessy driving her in 2014, so I've been real close to her. Fact is, Heather Wilder called me last year and says, you want a 2-year-old? I said, oh, I don't think I want a 2-year-old. I got too many horses right now. Roger, do you want a 2-year-old? I said, no, I don't. Roger? And I said, okay, what's the story? Oh, it's by Carmel Camden. So we got a filly actually racing tonight at the Meadows. Named, what is this?
Won't matter.
Oakwood May Win. Oakwood May Win out of Carmel Camden by Always Be Mickey. And She races tonight at the Meadows, so we'll see how she does.
Is that her first start tonight?
Oh, no, I think it's 5 or 6 starts she's had, maybe. It's just racing real lightly.
Yep.
But the interesting part about that is part of the ownership group is known as the VDM stable, which Derek, Paul, who built the starting gate that we use over here, Tom Charters, who's been here, Doug McIntosh up in Canada, he was here last year. So all of us are connected to the VDM, so that's why we called the stable name VDM stable.
Have you enjoyed watching this grow? And when I say this grow, not just the VDM, but also English racing, or United Kingdom racing, because it is getting better. They're getting so much faster.
To show you how it's grown, maybe, and I don't have the actual figure, but if I remember correctly, in 2014, there was only one horse that had sired in the United States and then was racing over Doonbeg. Last year, I think I'm right in this, 21 races, 18 races were won by U.S. stallions. It has really changed in that 2014 to where we are today.
Yep.
And I think there's one race tomorrow night. Every horse in the field is U.S. bred.
Yep, because they're getting more and more professional.
More and more. And a lot of that goes with the Ron Burke operation. Burke's had Foreclosure Inn and made a deal with Derek, and he's over here in the top stallion in Ireland. Ron has probably purchased, I don't know, I don't have the exact figure, but probably 15 to 25 horses that are over here, buys them, races them in the States, and it's really changed in the last 5 or 6 years.
I forgot the Aero, was either Aerodome or Aeroplane last year, like phenomenal colt. And he's going around again. He's going around over this weekend, but like
Murray Brown tore me up because after last year, I went home and posted on Facebook. This year, I've seen the greatest 2-year-old pacer in my entire life. I might have over-exaggerated, but this Aeroplane to me is phenomenal. I think he's had maybe 15 or 16 starts. He's only lost once, has a mark of 157. The race that he lost, he had post 12, 6 on the gate, 6 trailers, hung every step of the mile, got beat ahead. All of the other races, he's been a winner, has a mark, I said, 157. 157 over here is 149 or 150 in the States as a 3-year-old. And the Ball family owns it along with a couple other individuals. Trainer Patrick Kane and his dad's involved. And this horse is going to the States probably in late November, early December. We'll be racing over there. So I may have to eat my words, but I think he'll be phenomenal in the States when he gets here.
The one thing that blew us away last year, and no disrespect to anyone, but we weren't sure what we were expecting as far as horses. These guys are proper horsemen. Their muscle, their build, their presentation of these horses, it's outstanding, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's world class.
Oh, it is. The one we saw at Newtown.
Yep.
Churchview Meow.
Yeah.
I can remember it coming around that final turn, and he came out about 3 or 4 wide and everything, and finished up the race in that Churchview Meow.
And only just got there though, didn't she? Yeah, but she got there, and they were great scenes. But the way they present these horses, it's magic, and they really are. Well, just before we get off the canes too, we've got to say thank you to those, because Lauren Harmon, she's over here driving in the lady drivers race in the Bernie Kelly, and that's tomorrow. But it was my fault in a way. We started talking about training horses on the beach, and
I got to do that.
Yeah, but Derek got on the phone. It was actually through the same people, wasn't it? But Derek got on the phone, and these guys gave up their morning to give her wish, if you like. They're brilliant people, aren't they?
Oh yeah, That was, I don't know, 6-7 years ago.
You had to
Mike
drive.
Wilder was here.
And it's still his Facebook
Yeah.
cover photo at the back.
Yeah. And I've never had an experience like that. I mean, I started out, I wanted a motorcycle at one time. No, my parents wouldn't let me have a motorcycle, so they bought me a 15-year-old broodmare.
That's what they got. Did you ever drive?
Huh?
Did you ever drive?
Oh, yeah.
Any
they,
good?
They were a mixture of amateur races and some professional races back in 1984 to 1995. I think I had maybe 19 or 20 wins. Never drove more than maybe 6 or 7 times, but I actually raced at a lot of the county fairs. I had a 3-year-old filly pacer for Fan at the Meadows and Owners, and they wanted me to drive her at the fair, so I did that 1 year, and I won the national championship probably in 1987 or 88. Everybody else, I always call it Roger racing against the millionaires, and they all were millionaires. When you talk about Paul Spears, Max Hemp, the Gary family, and all those guys, they had the best choice of horses. And here's Roger driving a 10-year-old gelding by the name of Jubilee John, who they bought in Iowa for $16,000 and brought him to the Meadows. The owner actually came to me and said, "Would you drive him in the amateur races?" And I said, "Sure." So we raced him 2 years and won a number of races with him. So I always felt, I don't know other people agree with me, but I always felt I'd be a good driver because I actually drove every race I announced.
Yep.
Look at it that way.
And you knew the people you're driving against, so you would have known, and go from there. What sort of driver? Were you an aggressive driver or a sit-back driver?
I guess I was aggressive. I loved to be on the front end. Had one horse by the name of Von Prix. My stepson, claimed her for $5,000 at the Meadows. We brought her to Delaware. I won like 5 out of 7 years at Delaware, Ohio, on Wednesday when they had the amateur races. And I wasn't always the favorite either. And brought her over here, and it's when they had a rule that you had to go a quarter 33 seconds or faster. If you went 33 seconds, you got fined. I hit the first quarter in 32 and 4. The next quarter was 32 and 4. And the third quarter was a little faster because I just put the pedal to the metal at the half and threw off and won. And we were expecting to go in 2 minutes that day with her. And I called Troy after the race was over. First thing he says, "How fast did you go?" And I said, 2.5 and something. "Oh, give him the money back." He was upset with me because I didn't send it down the pike.
You win the race first, you worry about the rest
yeah.
last. You don't worry about that. So, yeah. Do you enjoy the way the sport is going? Like you've been calling now, 65 years. I hope I counted that right, 66 years.
Like everybody else, I'm heavily concerned the way the sport's gone. And I'm not going to put blame on anybody. What I'm going to say is that in the heyday of harness racing, you didn't have 25 restaurants within 5 miles of your racetrack. Everybody went to the clubhouse dining room to have dinner. You didn't have 4 movie theaters with 10 screens in each movie theater. There wasn't as much to do. People went to the racetrack. And we've lost that audience. A lot of people will come up and say it's our own fault and such, but I just think it's the way times have changed. It's not just harness racing. No. Thoroughbred racing's got the same problem.
Yep.
Even baseball. I mean, how many times does the Pittsburgh Pirates baseball team have 3,000 people at a game in a stadium that holds 50,000?
I don't know the answer to that, but obviously a lot. Yeah.
So it's the same thing. Every sport's having that problem, except women's basketball by a young girl by the name of Caitlin Clark, who's got a fan base that's unbelievable. But every sport has the problem.
From afar, looks like there's plenty of people in the sport trying very hard, though, in America.
Yes, but I don't know that there's an answer.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of people sit back and say, well, they haven't done anything. I've been at racetracks and we have tried to do things. We have, at least the tracks I've been involved with. And it works to some degree. For one reason, we can get them there on special nights. I mean, they have these wiener dog races now. And the Meadows, the first year we had it, the on-track handle was second only to Adios Day.
Yep.
And it was people who had never been to the racetrack, but the handle was real good. But you can't have wiener dog races every night of the week.
Because I'll stop coming.
Yeah.
That's the other part, yeah.
And so I don't know what the answer is, and I don't claim to know what the answer is.
Yeah.
A lot of people complain about the drag that some tracks are using, like almost all of them, where they post parade at 0 minutes to post time and they don't go to the post for 4 or 5 minutes. The reason that is because of full carb simulcasting, the bettors can't be betting on 3 races at the same time. So you set your races to stay away from other racetracks that are racing so that you can get the optimum mutual handle.
If there's people from America watching this, I will say, as an Australian, we'll sit there and you'll get post time up, and you can be 10 minutes late, which on a Sunday morning, which is Saturday night, Saturday afternoon for you guys, it's not an issue because there's nothing else, so we sit there and we can wait. But if you race late and it's a busy day for us and they're there to be, we don't see it. And we don't see it anywhere else because it's just gone. So I think that is one thing worldwide.
So you have the drag in Australia too?
On our tracks, no, we run to a time. If the time is set, if you race at 5, you race at 5. If you race at 1 minute past 5, you start at 1 minute past 5. But quite often the post times that you guys will give us over there, and that could be an issue with it too. You guys can be 10 minutes late. We don't get to see those races unless there's nothing else on. If there's nothing else on, they'll leave it there. Yeah. But if there's something else, and so there's always those ramifications that we probably need to get that a bit more streamlined.
I mean, I don't think the tracks would need the drag if it was just one track racing.
Yep.
You know, but the drag is to get away from other races.
Yep. Yeah, I understand. There's definitely 2 sides. Yeah. There'll be someone sitting there watching and saying to me, talking to me, saying, well, you don't understand. I do, but I think it's one thing we need to fix.
I didn't hear the actual figures or such, but the Meadowlands had a drag, and then they decided to do away with the drag and go on post time. The result was a very significant drop in handle when they went on post time. And they did it for probably a month or so to let it really get its feet wet. They went back to the drag. Yeah. Because they were forced to.
The same thing happens in Australia. Any race that races past post time, it goes through. And the later you seem to get, the more people say, well, it's very strange. Whether we should advertise a certain time and start at the right time, just say to everyone, well, this is when we're going to start. Yeah. Set your TVs. But this is, it's a very strange one.
Yeah. Can I tell 2 Australian stories more?
You can do whatever you like. Okay.
The year we went there, I actually drove in a race. I think it was a field of 12, and I finished 4th, which I was very happy with and everything. But between pulling this string to make the blind bridle go up, pulling this string to let the hobbles out and everything, I says, you got to write this on the apron. So they wrote in black felt various things of where to pull the plugs and stuff like that. But I don't see how they could do it. You know, they change all the equipment right during the race.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was one of them. But the other one, they have a party the night before the Inter-Dominion.
Yep.
And I don't know what they call it, but
Calcutta.
Calcutta?
Yep.
Well, guess who was sitting at my table the year we were there? Lisa Justice. Now, I, as a young man, I guess I was 40, I immediately fell in love with Lisa Justice. Beautiful girl and everything. So she's sitting there. And I find out that she's got a horse in Dominion. So the bidding starts. And I think I bid somewhere around $1,100 to have Lisa Justice's horse in the Inter Dominion. She finished second, by the
Yep.
way. And I got all my money back and made a little profit.
Yep.
And I asked her, I says, Lisa, who was that guy that I was bidding against? She says, oh, that was the owner of the horse.
And you outbid him. And that was won by Brian Hancock, who we called Mr. Inter Dominion because
Yeah.
And
I met Brian when I was over there. And,
I think it was
Great
Thorate
guy.
that won. I might be in trouble. There might not have been Thorate that won that, but yeah, he was. I think Thorate won himself 3 or 4, so he was a superstar himself. So yeah.
Adelaide would not let me announce races at any other racetrack. They wanted me just to announce that one race at Adelaide, and I agreed with them and everything. But I almost lost my voice because we went on tours and things like that in various racetracks. But the people always wanted to ask questions, and I did more talking in Australia than I've probably done any other place in the world.
We talk too fast too, don't we?
More so anymore. I told before we start, don't talk too fast. I can't keep up with you guys.
I'm very bad at it. I know that, so don't worry.
I watched the Lauren Harmon interview, and time I understood the question, she had already answered it.
It's actually a funny thing because I don't think I have an accent, but over here I've been well and truly pointed out I do. So yeah,
I can't understand a word Delaney says.
You're not on your own.
Now, when we're at home, we're at his house, and just the two of us, I can understand him.
Yep.
We get out in the crowd, and he talks a little faster and stuff, and all the other crowd noise because of these things up here, I have a trouble.
Yeah.
So I'm glad nobody's around here.
Yeah. Well, we've had enough people coming past, but it's been okay. Yeah. Roger, thank you. Good luck tomorrow. It is tomorrow, actually. Yeah. Good luck tomorrow and Saturday night.
It was wild. I said to somebody, I thought this was Wednesday, and they says, no, today's Thursday.
Yeah.
I said, the race is tomorrow?
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it, by the way.
Yeah, well, good luck with that. Yeah. And congratulations calling 60 jugs a little bit later on in the month.
Well, it's not quite 60 yet, so not to correct you.
You put in the paper 59th.
No, it's 56 and 57.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. Somebody did that wrong. Yeah.
Oh, I thought I was on an exclusive. Will you get to 60?
Will I get to 60? I don't think so.
Wow.
Event, you got to understand. I don't know how to explain it. I really don't. But I know I want to quit on my own terms. And when I quit calling the jug,
You'll quit?
No.
Oh, no?
I will still announce all the other races at Delaware.
Yep.
I still announce 70, 75 races. But the pressure is getting tougher and tougher each year for my age. And I'll be the first to admit it. So the last couple of years, I've been thinking, when's the last one going to be? And it's not because of health or anything like that. Tom Wright, who runs the jug, he says it's totally up to you. When you want to do it, do it. And I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen in the next couple of years.
Yeah, so if you had a wiggle it, jiggle it moment or a big bad John, that might be one of those things that sort of put it up. No? That'd push you on to the next year.
No. I don't think anybody will ever break my record of 56 jugs or 57 or whatever it's going to be. So I think I'm safe to turn it over to somebody else.
Yeah.
Because I want to hold on to that record. Actually, I should get into the Guinness World Book of Records. I was second. They don't have a particular category for announcers of horse races or anything like that, but we come under kind of a communicators reference. And Vince Scully, who was the voice of the Los Angeles Dodgers for something like 58, 59 years, I was second to him. But I think I either tie Vince Scully next year or I move ahead of Vince Scully next year. And so I'm looking forward to that because I was a fan of Vince Scully, and I'd like to get in the Guinness World Book of Records.
Who's your favourite voice? Who is the favourite person you like listening to?
Marty Glickman.
Don't know him. What does he do?
When you'd go to the movie theaters, they'd have those movie tone clips back in the 50s and the 60s. As a kid, we'd go to the movies, and they always had a clip of Marty calling the Roosevelt cane pace or something like that. I thought he had the perfect voice, and I loved his description. The style between Marty Glickman and myself, no ways near similar, but I just loved the way his style and the way his voice sounded and such like that.
Roger, thank you. As I said, good luck with the VDM, and it is a fabulous weekend. We want more people to come on these tours. They don't know what they're missing out on, do they?
Yeah.
It's
a great experience. We call it the Little Brown Jug over here,
Yep.
really, and it's on not as big a scale, but I've always been impressed by the ownership of the people, of the horses in this business over here in Ireland, because they are not in it for the money.
No, they're in it for the love.
The love of harness racing.
Yep.
And that is, to some degree, in the States, but not to the degree that we have in Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and such like that.
No.
These people really love it. You see it in the winner's circle.
Yeah,
It just makes you feel good.
does indeed. Thanks, mate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.